The Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, officially declared his ambition to run for the governorship of his state in 2024 on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. Now, this is a bold and controversial move that has sparked tension and resistance from his boss, Governor Gordon Obaseki, who has appealed to him to drop his ambition and focus on the administration's achievements so they can finish strong. Well, to discuss the motives and consequences of this declaration, we have our guest joining us tonight on the program. Honorable Shedrach Uduagbai is Executive Director of the Center for Advocacy and Governance and Leadership. He joins us live via video link. Honorable, it's great to have you on the program tonight.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be with you.
All right, fantastic. What's your assessment of the declaration of Shaibu to run for governorship in 2024? Did you see it coming? And you heard the man, you listened to his speech, I guess. So what's your assessment of it all?
First, I want to commend him for the show of courage. To a large extent, the candidacy did start well. He had some challenges initially by the act of wanting to go to court. Some persons felt he was trying to play the underdog. But to a very large extent, the declaration was fine, was fair. Some parents have said the quality of persons that graced the occasion were not really worthy, just a few persons and not persons of the requisite political muscle that would want to see in the race. But to a large extent, it was fair and he spoke well, and even his presentation in recent time has also been nice. And he sits well with the Edo people. He has the legitimate capacity to express himself. He has what it takes, the honors to be governor. He has the experience, and then he should test his waters in the coming days.
Okay, he talked about his performance in his speech as a legislator, both at the state level and at the federal level, and he made some points regarding how many constituency projects that he was able to initiate. That's debatable when you talk about constituency projects. Let's evaluate the performance of Philip Shaibu on two bases. First, before he became deputy governor, what do you think? Do you agree with what he said, that he performed well, and the performance he displayed is what should qualify him to be the next governor of Edo State as a legislator? Let's start from that, before he became deputy.
As a legislator, when he was House of Assembly member or when he went to the House of Reps, he did fairly well. He did fairly well, but at that time was he trying to prove himself worthy of the support he has gotten via his political godfather, Adams Aliyu Shomole. He did fairly well, I would commend him. But as deputy governor, on a personal note, I wouldn't want to say he's not a man that is known for any form of strong political advocacy. He's not known for intellectualism, but he's known to be political, fine. But to a very large extent, I won't want to say score him so high, because if you calculate what the Edo State governor has done, he has infused some level of intellectualism, some digital innovations into governance. But the deputy governor, all through his stay as deputy governor, made some remarkable contribution, basically in sports. And beyond sports, there's really nothing you could tie to him. He claims to have the capacity to have increased the internally generated revenue of the state, but there are a lot of factors that was capable of that. It was as a result of the governor going for digital means of revenue generation. Remittance of funds was being totally overhauled and being done digitally. So I wouldn't want to say all of those things rested on his table. But in sports, I'll give it to him. But beyond that, I wouldn't want to say he has done so much by level of intellectual contribution to governance or by any form of advocacy or any strong form of contribution. But it is fair. As a politician, it's fair.
Okay. So you're saying that the revenue drive, the internally generated revenue drive that he's claiming credit for was not really his doing, that it was down to the digital initiatives, infusing digital reforms to revenue collection in Edo State by the governor, not the deputy governor. Is that what you're saying? And he shouldn't take credit for that?
It's a tricky question. But the challenge is this. It was being supervised by the deputy governor. But the idea of infusing technology as a means of revenue collection was not entirely that of the deputy governor. Perhaps it would have been part of the process. But what we used to have before now is that we used to have non-state actors who engage in the trivialization of the people's rights, as we witnessed during the time of Adams Aliyu Shomole, that was being disbanded when Obaseki came into power. most particularly this is second tenure, when he moved against the political leaders and masters, many of those who have considered themselves as principalities. Because before now, we used to have some big heavyweights within the All Progressive Congress who were in charge of specific markets, revenue generation, revenue collection. But the governor was clear about that. He said he would not toe in that line, he would not move in that direction. And as a result, we saw that he infused information technology, ICT, into collection, and the money stopped finding his way into private pockets. And that was what primarily led to the boost. And the governor also does strategic reforms. He also gave credit to his the ease of doing business, attracting investors. And all of those things have gone a long way to boost the revenue generation of the state. Not entirely a creation of the deputy governor. I will admit to him sports, being a sport lover, being a prime motivator, always being on field, but not for IGR. I won't give that to him.
Okay. What is his pedigree? Does he have what it takes, a metal, to be a governor of a state? I mean, for all the accusations on the performance of Uduagbai as governor, there's something about an individual that at least gives them that pedigree, that metal to oversee the activities of a state. And you have to give it to Uduagbai. He travels abroad, for trips. He's looked for foreign investors. He has certain initiatives like you've just mentioned about, turning around the IGR and all that. Does Shaibu possess that pedigree that is required of someone who will be the governor of such a state?
The pedigree you speak of, is it in governance or his capacity to win as a politician?
In governance. In governance. In governance. Let's start from there. Yes, we'll start from there.
The pedigree in governance, he has gotten a requisite exposure that is needed by any individual who wants to run. He has been in politics for roughly 20 years, heading towards 24 years. He was in Oshumo's government for 8 years, his own government for that is the last 16 years, plus the other one. So heading to 20 years of impactful, being detailed in the executive arm of government. So the challenge is you wouldn't need anything more by way of exposure. But by way of competence, his intellectual capacity or his educational qualifications are still at the level of BSc, I guess. There's not in the time he had a master's or he had gone for any form of international course or anything of that nature. So I wouldn't want to say intellectually sound. He has not done so much of private business. We'll say, okay, maybe he has getting good exposure in any specific market. But say, okay, he has got there's nothing in that direction.
Would you describe him as a career politician? Does he not have a life or some experience outside politics?
None that I'm aware of. I know he has businesses, he has filling stations, and then he's also really into real estate, but not a technocrat like the governor, who is an investment banker who has built companies, who has a portfolio to his name. The other aspirants who are lawyers, who have handled cases, who are doing very well, some of the SCN. So, but to him personally, I won't say there's anything going for him outside politics. And previously, he was very confident, he was a member of this correctional center. I think it was a prison staff. That was when he resigned to enter into politics full time. So beyond that, there's nothing else to his career.
Okay, he was a staff of the Nigerian Prison Service, yes, as it then was known.
These prisons, what they called again? The prisons. He was a member of. He was a staff. He was a warder.
All right. Anyway, there are several persons who are career politicians, but they end up becoming very astute governors. You have the likes of Yeson Wike, who
he has gotten exposure. If he learns by the ropes, he will make a good governor. But
one will ask, who masters or investment banking help, like we say in Nigeria? I mean, Uduagbai, you talked about, we know the issues in Edo State that we hear some of you complaining about, not saying he's not performed, but we know the issues that some Edo persons, residents complain about, roads, for instance, and other things. So the technocrats, and most of the governors in Nigeria from the past to the present have been technocrats. SANs, medical doctors, professors, lawyers, and all that. And what has the result been?
Okay, like I told you just now, like I spoke just now, when we spoke about the issue of IGRO, I told you the governor came on board, he infused technology.
Yeah, no, that aside, Edo people complain a lot about bad roads in Edo State. Let's not go into it.
Okay, we're talking about bad roads.
Let's not go into it. I know about it. Let's not go into it. I'm saying that who has this technocrat thing that some of you talk about helped in Nigeria? All the technocrats who have been governors in the time past who are governors today and occupying several positions in the federal cabinet, state cabinets. How has the technocrats helped Nigerians?
When you speak about when people come into governance, they bring their personal experience and it's mixed directly with their competence and their character.
So what has the result been since 1999?
I'm telling you, if you see the level of transformation we witnessed in Edo State by way of civil service repositioning.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Nigeria or Edo State? In
Nigeria.
Edo State
Nigeria. The man who is governor of Ondo State, who was the senior advocate of Nigeria, who was criticizing Goodluck Yaradua when he had his own issue, now today he's having medical problems, doesn't want to leave. You know, technocrat. We have medical doctors, professors who've been governors, and their tenures were nothing to write home about. Are you there, sir?
But we also had a Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who perhaps had something meaningful to. I'm here very well, sir.
Yeah, go on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
I said we've had a Goodluck Ebele Jonathan who made some meaningful contribution to a very large extent. We saw Yaradua. He told us he was in class, was teaching, going about his normal business. See, there's a mentality people bring into governance, there's a mentality they bring to office. The challenge is that when a career politician comes, it comes with so many political packages. And it's difficult for such a political package to bring to me well because he will have some political strongholds and the persons he wants to service, the interest on ground. It's usually very humongous to cater for all of those many interests. But if the man has gone far, he has traveled wide, he's exposed, he has sat down to control man and resources, he has built businesses, it is easy for that man to bring such innovation into governance. Because in governance, at that point, nobody tells him what to do. He gives all the instructions. So if you bring a man who has been a career politician, who understands little or no value for huge money, because that's been a challenge. There are politicians who sit in their houses who just want to make money, and we have government telling that the times have changed. You can no longer make stupendous resources from government by not making meaningful contribution. That is how the private sector works. And if you see persons in government who have been going into high-quality projects, like for example, very common.
Shedrach, I just want to just chip in just before we move on because of time. Are you saying that someone who has a BSc is not as informed, educated, and capable as someone who has an MSc? Is that what you're saying?
So it depends on the level of exposure. There are BSc holders, there are SSc holders who are more exposed than a BSc holder.
There are also master's degree holders who are not as exposed as BSc holders.
But if you say education does not matter, then you can't tell me a living school certificate, a primary 6 certificate is better than an MSc holder.
No, I'm asking you. You said that you said Shaibu. You said Shaibu. Shedrach. You said Shaibu has just a BSc, not even a master's. And I'm asking you, are you saying that because he doesn't have a master's and he has a BSc, that he's not well educated, and that someone who has a master's would have been better educated or be a better governor than someone who has a BSc? Is that what you're saying?
I was trying to run all he has in his portfolio.
No, but you said he doesn't even have a master's, and that you counted that against him.
Yes,
so we're here. I remember what you said.
For a man who is highly placed, what he has, that's what he has. If he has a PhD, I would say he has PhD, he has a lot of things going for him.
Yeah, but you counted that against him, that because he doesn't have a master's degree.
Against him?
Yes.
Yes, he hasn't gone to increase his knowledge, and it's not my fault, it's his own fault.
So are you saying that because he doesn't have a master's degree, Shaibu has a BSc, that he's not educated enough to be governor of Edo State?
Yes, if I have two candidates, two of them are of the same level of engagement, and I see that one has a PhD and one has a BSc, I'll go for the PhD holder. It's obvious.
No. You talked about master's degree.
I'll go for the master's. If he's a higher qualification, I prefer the master's degree to the one with BSc. Okay. If both of them have certified all other requirements.
All right.
It's a basis of judgment. So me using it doesn't seem as though I'm trying to marginalize him. That's what he has.
Okay. And then, I totally disagree with you, Shedrach. Let me just put that out there. and for all the technocrats that we've had, this thing called technocrat that we've had in Nigeria, especially as governors, I want you to go back and check the records and look at the performance. And for the people of Edo State who always complain to me about the poor infrastructure in Edo State, especially roads, I wonder what the qualifications of Obaseki as governor has done. Why hasn't he been able to fix the problem of roads in Edo State. Some people can go
The
to
question
their
I've asked you,
villages, and you know it.
No, what qualification will someone need to fix road? Do you need a master's degree or a PhD degree?
But that's what you were just saying, Shedrach. Anyway, let's move on.
No.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the rotation of power amongst the 3 senatorial districts in Edo State. How do you think that will affect the chances of Shaibu Edo to become governor?
It will affect him negatively. It will affect him negatively and strongly. The challenge we have is that the Edo people are 3 senatorial districts, and we will try. There are many of us who believe, as Democrats to the core, that for there to be even access to power and empowerment, for there to be equity, fairness, and justice, that power must rotate. And since 1999, for roughly about 24 years now, since the resumption of democracy, we've seen power being rotated between Edo South and Edo North. And in Edo North, it's just specifically in one local government, or 2 are thereabouts, the Esako, one same ethnic group, the Esakos, who have produced 2 deputy governors that have run for 16 years and have produced a governor that have lasted for 8 years. And we have a senatorial district in Edo Central where they've not produced a deputy governor since the return of democracy in 1990, for the past 24 years. They've not produced 1 deputy governor. The only governor they've produced lasted for about 18 months. And in Edo South, they've had a good share of 2 times. They produced governors twice, 16 years, and they've also produced the deputy governor. So the challenge we've had, that it is only logical, it is only normal for the people of Edo Central to also have a taste in power. The federal roads you are complaining about now, they are predominantly in Edo Central, between the axis of Auchi through Ekpoma down to Edo South. And people are saying, if we've had fair share of power, by now these roads would have been a done deal. All the ministers we've had in Edo State for the last 16 years have been from the same Edo North and one from Edo South. So the people in Edo Central, they are angling for power. And it is fair, it is normal, because it's their own existential rights, and they feel they need a sense of belonging. And mind you, there's also votes attached to it. So persons have said that there are few, that they're about 16%, but those are the 16%, it's only those who are domiciled within the geographical location of Edo Central. Preponderance of the persons who are in Benin are Essence, and they also identify very strongly with the Essence agenda that is good for them with fairness, equity, and justice for power to rotate to Edo Central. But what we have in the candidacy of Philip Shaibu is a man who has been House of Assembly member, who has gone to the House of Reps, who was brought to House of Reps to become deputy governor for 8 years, now wanting to become governor as against the rotation. And we've calculated that even if governorship will be going to Edo North, it certainly will not go to the same man who has been deputy governor. And mind you, the last governor we had from Edo North, the only governor we've had, is still from the same local government of Philip Shaibu. And Philip Shaibu is a godson to that man. And the calculation we are bringing forward is that even if it's going to go to Edo North, there are other ethnic groups, there are other local governments in Edo North. The others, East and West, they've never had a
Shedrach,
no government deputy. You have Akoko Edo also.
Shedrach, interesting. Well, let's see how it goes. For now, I think he's the first person to make such a declaration publicly and formally with such pomp and pageantry. People say, nobody who call police in the win case. So let's see whether he will be the first to win this case. Politics is the more you look, the less you see. We'll keep eyes on this story. Shedrach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, Shedrach Uduagbai is Executive Director, Center for Advocacy, Governance and Leadership, chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. He was a guest on the first segment of Politics HQ. We'll be right back. When we return, we delve into the murky waters of politics in River State. It's really murky. We'll be right back. Stay with us.